Hello everybody, welcome to my channel and thank you for watching this video. Now, sometimes I envy botanists whose job it is to go into the tropical forests to discover new aroids. Like for instance, this Philodendron delinksii right here, discovered in 1967 but only described and published as a new philodendron species in 2011. And in 2023, this Philodendron delinksii is one of the 5 unpopular philodendrons that didn't make the top 10 of my favorite unpopular philodendrons for 2022. So let's have a closer look at those 5 runners-up together. So I bought this climber from Ecuador in June 2021. And here is a picture of the plant on the day it arrived at my place, with only 2 leaves. Now, saying that this guy is a climber is quite the understatement, because as you can see on this second picture, since I bought it, I had to cut it down 2 times because it had become double the size of its moss pole, and it was on the verge of breaking off. So it is safe to say that this is a very fast growing philodendron. Now, with the cuttings that I took so far, I only had a 50% success rate, which is pretty low for a philodendron. And here you can see a cutting that has been in water for 4 months now, and it didn't root very well, but it did make 2 new baby leaves while growing in water. And I will plant this cutting in the same pot as the mother plant in a minute, since the original leaf is dying off, as you can see. So I want this cutting to grow in soil as soon as possible. So here's the mother together with the new cutting. And this here is another cutting that I put in the same pot a week ago. And in this very purple container I got 2 more recent cuttings, by the way. So hopefully one day I'll end up with a very full pot of this beautiful Philodendron delinksii. Now, it might come as a surprise to you, but runner-up number 2, this Philodendron sparreorum, is botanically very closely related to the previous one, the delinksii, although you wouldn't think that just by looking at both plants. This is what the plant looked like when I got it, a bit more than a year ago now, and it only had 2 leaves, so it's been growing quite well. Now, you might think that this poor plant is seriously underwatered because of the way the leaves are hanging downwards, but this is not the case. There is a specific other reason why this plant is growing downwards, and I will show you right now why. So I'm keeping this plant right here above these growing lights, and since it doesn't get any other light from above, it has turned all its leaves downwards towards the artificial light. Perhaps I should do an experiment and relocate this plant to a spot where it gets light from above, and then see how the leaves will change their growing direction into an upward position. I might just do that. This here is the 3rd unpopular philodendron that didn't make the cut of my top 10. But perhaps it deserved better because I quite like this species. When I got this plant 1.5 years ago now, I thought it would be a philodendron with a bird nest rosette-like way of growing. This is a picture of it when it arrived at my place. But as it turns out, this plant got me fooled, because now it has become clear that it is actually a true climber. This is a philodendron that likes to dry out completely. Its leaves are quite thick and succulent, and in my experience that's a good indicator that you can let your philodendron dry out completely, because it stores water in its leaves. And you can tell that this plant is very happy at the moment because it is working on a brand new leaf even though we are in winter. My 4th runner-up is this Philodendron grandipes that has been under my care since July 2021, so for 1.5 years now. On this picture I took on the day it arrived at my place, you can see that it came with 3 big leaves. But since then this plant has changed its appearance quite dramatically. Since it lost all of its bottom leaves, then it started struggling with its new paper-thin leaves that always got stuck before they could unfurl. So I took these 2 cuttings as a precaution, and since then this plant is doing just fine. You can see that I cut it right here, and the only old leaf that's left is this damaged leaf. And the other 5 leaves are actually new ones that the plant grew after I cut it back. And weirdly enough, these 5 new leaves unfurled without any damage or problem. The only thing now is that the plant looks a bit naked at the bottom. And although I don't really mind this because aesthetically it looks okay, at least to me, the solution could be to add one of these 2 cuttings that I took from the mother plant in the same pot. Now, the first problem with that is that the current pot might be a bit too small to host 2 plants. And the second problem is that these cuttings have been in this vase for so long that I will probably have to break the vase to get them out. I guess I will have to sleep on it and see what I will do. Finally, and just to show you that not all philodendrons are easy care, I want to talk to you about this philodendron magnum, my 5th runner-up. Now, ironically, magnum in Latin means great or huge. Now, you will agree with me that at the moment there is nothing great or huge about this plant. Now, I got this plant 7 months ago, and back then it looked like this. It chipped just fine and had 4 nice big leaves. But since then it has lost all but one of its original leaves. And I don't know what this plant was thinking by producing this hot mess at the top, but that's not the way to become great or huge. Perhaps I should not have put it in a terracotta pot, that might have been the problem. Anyway, I think the plant actually agrees that at the moment it is putting its name to shame, since it seems to have given up the idea of growing decently at the top. So recently it decided to sprout a brand new baby at the bottom, as if to say, I might as well start over from scratch if I ever want to become huge. And I think that just might be a great idea. So let's call this small plant a plant with a big idea. Alright, that concludes this video of my 5 unpopular philodendrons that didn't make my last year's top 10. If you enjoyed this video, please consider liking it and or subscribing to my channel. As you might know, I have an ongoing series about unpopular philodendrons, with many more episodes still to come. For now, I want to thank you again for watching this video, and I wish you a very good day. I hope to see you soon. Bye bye.